Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to another episode of the Unbound Soul podcast with me, your host, Shannon. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here. And if you're a return listener, you'll know that it's been a bit of a hiatus. I think it's been nearly 6 months since I recorded an episode, and today I feel the fire again, so here we are. Again, the Unbound Soul is all about provoking your thoughts. It's all about making you think deeper about yourself, about your mindset, your inner world, what makes you tick. And so in alignment with that, today we're going to talk about the truth of who you are and really what it means to come home to that version of you. A lot of people in my orbit, a lot of people in my world are focused and driven to become the greatest version of themselves. And a lot of us are out there thinking that greatest version or that success that we desire is going to come through trying harder, through being dedicated, through doing the work day in, day out. And although that is true, we do need to be actually putting in the effort in order to create the life that we desire. There's a huge chunk that's missing, and that's what I'm going to go into today. And before I do dive in, as you know, I am human also. So anything that I say here today is coming from this place of, hey, I just lived this thing. I lived this experience recently and I learned something about it and about myself, and I really want to share what I've learned with you so that you can take this away and you can apply it to your own life. These different ways of thinking and maybe deeper understandings of who you really are. And I hope that you get the same level of, oh my gosh, that's it. I hope that you get the same level of, wow, that really changed my way of being, as I do when I find these things out for myself. So today, the topic, we're talking about you. Who are you really? At the truth of your soul, at your core, at your essence, who are you really? And this is an important question to ask because we've all been, at some point, somewhere along the way, we've been pulled away from that true, authentic, real version of who we are. Every single one of us starts out with a near blank slate. Depending on your beliefs and your philosophy of how we enter this world, we may carry epigenetics. Of course, in our DNA, there are things that are passed down through us. Some people believe that there are past lives, so maybe we're carrying some stuff, or a lot of stuff in that case, from the lives that we lived before. And of course, we also have, not just the genetics that are passed down, but also the traumas and the wounds that are passed down to us before we enter this world. And that's like still the purest state that we've ever been, right? Even though we have some stuff that's passed down when we are first born into this world, that's the purest state that we have ever been in this lifetime. So I want to remind you of that because when you're a baby, right, the most common thoughts and limiting beliefs that I hear from everyone that I talk to, myself included, is I'm not good enough. What if I don't have what it takes? What if I never get there? And this seems to be a devastating thought process to have because we're attaching our self-worth to something outside of ourselves. When we're a baby, when we're first born into this world, did we have to win a bike race in order to feel good enough? Did we have to become a PhD student or a best-selling author, or did we have to perform on stages in order to feel like we are worthy and loved and accepted in this life? No. The answer is no. Short answer, no. When we're a baby, none of that was holding us back. The only fears that we had were instinctual. We were scared of loud noises. We were scared of being abandoned because that meant we would quite literally not be able to survive. And we're scared of falling, right? When you have that sensation of dropping. So there was these very instinctive fears that we had as a baby, but not what if I don't make it to the Olympics? What if I don't step on the top step of the podium? What if I never amount to my own unrealistic, sometimes unrealistic expectations? What if I never get there? Then I'm doomed, then I'm a failure, then there is absolutely no point in me pursuing the things that I love, because if I don't get to experience the top level, then why the heck am I doing it? Yet, now that we're 20, 30, 40, these are the things that consume our daily thoughts. So it stands to reason that the baby version of us is closer to the truth of who we are. This adult version of us is further away from the truth of who we are, because at our core, all of us are already enough just as we are. We've just forgotten the truth in that. And hopefully today I can keep doing what I do, keep talking it out to try and help you remember that you are already enough. So going back to when we're first born into the world, then what happens, right? We have this blank slate, and then we start to learn, we start to absorb. We're literally a sponge for information, where there's new neural networks being formed at a rate faster than any other time in our life. From those ages of 0 to 7, we're just learning at warp speed. And the problem here is that a lot of the learnings that we experience are not being questioned by us. We are just believing them as truths, because we don't have any other example of what else could exist out there. So if you have a bad example of love when you're growing up, you don't question it. You just believe that that must be it, right? My parents, my parents are never there for me. They don't hold me when I'm sad or upset. They tell me to go to my room, and I don't know why I'm being sent to my room. I'm just feeling a lot of big feelings, and yet I'm being isolated from them, and they seem to be mad at me, and I don't really understand why. There must be something wrong with me. I must be the problem here. I'm the faulty number in this equation. So if I just suppress myself, then maybe I'll get more love. Okay, I'm going to try that next time. Next time this little beautiful human being experiences a big emotion, they suppress it, and guess what? They don't get sent away. They still get loved. They still get accepted. So, okay, I understand. I am the problem. My emotions are the problem. I'm going to suppress, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that I always keep mum and dad happy so that I can stay loved and accepted by them. Faulty belief system, yet no one was there to tell you any different. So you grew up believing that you had to suppress your emotions and hide them away. And there are so many other examples that I could reel off. The key here is to understand that we were developing so fast, and nobody was there like with any sort of questioning, curiosity, like, hey, what are the beliefs that you're forming? If someone hit you in the playground at school, what beliefs did you form about that? If someone laughed at you, what beliefs did you form about that? And these beliefs are so important, because if unquestioned, you carry them on for the rest of your life. And that's where the inner healing work and the subconscious programming comes in, to realize that, hey, I actually have a lot of beliefs, thought processes about myself and the world around me, stored emotions that haven't actually been fully released, that are still trapped inside my body. I have a lot of that stuff that is clouding who I really am. And let me explain this part to you. When I say clouding who you really are, like I said, there's a truth to you. You're at your core, at your essence. Let's just call this the truth of your soul. This is like the egg yolk. If you think of an egg, you've got the shell, you've got the egg white, and then you've got the yolk. This soul level version of you is like the egg yolk. It's the innermost layer. It's the golden, delicious, bright, and amazing part of you where all of the truth exists, right? Then you have your conditioning. This is like the egg white. This is all the stories that you made up about yourself or got told by others about yourself and you just believed them. These are all the stored emotions that never got processed and released out of your body, and you're still carrying them around like a weight on your shoulders. How many times have you said, I feel just so heavy? Or you have a good cry and you're like, oh, it's like a weight's lifted off my shoulders. These are the stored emotions that are still in your body, right? And they are all clouding your truth. They're all creating this, almost this fog that is wrapped around your soul. And so the truth of you, your true potential, your belief in yourself, your unwavering self-confidence and unwavering self-love is being clouded by all of these faulty programming systems. And then don't forget about the hard outer shell. This part of you is the facade that you wear, that you think you need to wear and show the world in order to be loved and in order to protect yourself from being hurt. So this is the part of you that shows up in one room as one version of you because you've got certain people in that room that you know, okay, I've got to be this version of me if I want to be loved by them. And then you walk into a different room and you become a completely different version of you because you know that there's people in there that you need to be a different version of you in order to be loved by them. So you're constantly chameleoning or shape-shifting from one to the other. This is the facade. This is not the real version of you. The facade is also the parts of you that tend to people please others. These are the parts of you that tend to hide your emotions away. The facade is essentially operated by or controlled by your subconscious, which is the egg white, the conditioning, all of the stories inside you, that pretty much instructs the facade. Hey, this is how you need to show up in order to be loved. Remember that one time where someone got angry at you because you did something wrong. Or remember that one time where you were embarrassed or you were rejected or whatever happened, you got hurt. So make sure you show up differently this time or as this version of you so that you're loved and accepted. And then it will all work out and you won't be hurt. There's a couple of things that I want to press on about this. Number one, if you continuously avoid pain, you are not going to be able to access pleasure, success, joy, happiness, love. Because when we are suppressing our pain or we're avoiding pain, we're avoiding growth. We're avoiding a whole 50% of who we are. We are the yin and the yang. We are the light and the dark. We are the shadow and the light, right? So we're avoiding a part of who we really are. And we can't get that growth, but also we're numbing ourselves out. We're numbing ourselves down, so we're not going to have the highs either. If you don't want the lows, you're not going to get the highs. You're just going to get this meh, this in-between, this middle ground. But if we learn to embrace our pain and we see it as an opportunity for growth and we're like, okay, I'm freaking here for this. I'm here for this pain because I know that it's cracking me open to a whole new level of who I really am. That's when we get to experience the breakthroughs. And that's when the pleasure comes out the other side, this euphoric feeling of, wow, I just overcome this incredible thing. And now I'm a whole new version of me. Not new, but I'm closer to who I have always been. And that really is the goal here. And let me tell you what happens when we crack past that facade. We crack it open. We're like, you know what? I don't want to exist anymore wearing these shields, carrying around this armor, being someone that I'm not. I don't want to exist in that version of me anymore. The version that is constantly scared of disappointing, constantly needs to succeed in order to prove my worth. I'm sick of trying. I'm tired of trying to be somebody. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do that anymore. We crack open the facade. What happens? Pain. We're faced with all of our limitations, with all of our emotions that have been stored away inside our body. And a lot of you listening now are going, well, I don't want that, so I'm just going to keep the facade on. But hold the phone. Hold on. Because once you have felt, released, and reprogrammed all of that subconscious, you get to access the truth of who you really are. And it doesn't happen all at once, right? This is a journey. It's not like you go through a purge that lasts 6 months of like reprogramming and healing your inner world, and then you access the truth of your soul. No, it happens gradually, bit by bit. You heal. Like, now we're going to use a different analogy. So stop thinking about the egg and start thinking about the onion. You are peeling back gently, layer by layer by layer, and you are revealing more and more and more. With each layer you peel back, you're revealing more of the truth of your soul. A little more light gets to escape with each layer that you peel back. So for example, today you might feel like, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I really want to achieve X, Y, Z, but I feel like I'm holding myself back because I'm not confident in my ability. So we ask, where does that come from? And we find the 13-year-old version of you whose coach at swimming training, this is me by the way, whose coach at swimming training gave more attention to the people who were performing best than she did to the people who weren't performing the best. So little 13-year-old Shannon created this equation in her head that said, hey, if you're just the best, then you'll be loved, but you got to be the best. When we've found that thing that is blocking us, then we go into it. Because underneath that need to be the best is a sad little girl that believes that she needs to be somebody and to be successful in order to be loved. And that's a sad feeling. That's a hard feeling. I can't just be myself. I've got to be successful. So my whole life, I've been trying to win just so I can be loved. So we feel all of that, we let it pour out, and then we come a little closer to the truth of who I am, which is good enough regardless. I am enough regardless of the external result. I am enough, I am lovable just by being me, just by being here, just by existing. And what happens when we realize that? Life becomes less serious. It becomes less about trying really hard to achieve love, and it becomes more about relaxing, the exhale. Thank God I don't have to try so hard anymore. I realize that I am already enough, and therefore I just get to be. I just get to be, and that is a very relieving feeling. I don't have to try anymore. When we don't have to try, we get to play again. And when we're in our play and in our joy, we follow our passion. We follow what our soul truly desires. And when we're following what our soul truly desires, we are being our greatest, most magnetic self. So we tend to attract the things that feel most aligned and most incredible in our life. Whereas when we're operating from this old system of needing to succeed in order to be loved and accepted in life, then no matter how much success we get, that is a bottomless pit that can't be filled. You get the win, you get the success, and you realize that you still have the same insecurities in your mind. You realize, oh, I still have to keep running. I still have to keep chasing. If I don't keep up this good work, then people are going to leave me. I'm going to be abandoned. I'm not going to be loved. I'm not going to be good enough unless I keep producing results. But when we know we are enough and we start to play with life, We're passionate, we're driven from the inside out. We don't need a result to prove our worth. We know we are worthy regardless. We still get to experience incredible results. They come as a bonus of knowing we're whole anyway. And this is freedom. This is freedom. This is what we all crave. This is what we all desire. We think that we're going to get it from out there, but it exists in here. And all that needs to happen is for you to go deep within yourself, to find the parts of you that don't believe in you, to find where they came from, where they originated from, to heal from that place and keep coming home closer and closer to the truth of who you are. Consider this episode 1 of a series of me talking about the truth of your soul and who you really are, and how coming home to that version of you is what we're all here to do. And that is the most magnificent, limitless version of you. I hope you're inspired by this conversation. If you found it helpful, or if you have any questions, please comment below. Please send me a DM to reach out and to ask any questions that you have. And don't forget to follow, to like, and to share this episode with anybody who you feel like would benefit from it. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. See you next time.